was at the peak of my fitness, like elite level training 2-3 times a day, ripped, fit as, and then mind shift about that was very, very challenging. And I found at that time that was probably the most depressed I've been in my whole life. What can I do now? Like I couldn't train people. I couldn't train myself.
Are we on? This podcast is going to be a fight between me and you. So I'm going to throw punches on you, you're going to respond, and vice versa.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So hopefully we get to, I don't know, ideally you should have 10, 12 rounds in boxing. Amateurs is around 3 rounds.
You've
and
done
you're
your
done.
research, mate.
So maybe if we get to 6 rounds, that would be great. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
So you're going to be surprised in some part of it,
Yeah.
but let's make it real fun.
Yeah.
This is your ring, and this is your chance to defend the sport that you love.
Love it.
Yeah?
Love it.
Are you ready for it?
Man, I'm ready. I'm
Okay,
ready. Put it in the mouth guard.
Excellent, excellent. During my research, I found that boxing in Australia doesn't really exist. It's not even on the map. Like I did a bit of comparison. Where is it in the scale? Where does it fit?
Yeah.
And I found that walking is 45%. Boxing doesn't even exist.
Yeah, well.
What are you trying to revive?
I've come through boxing through my whole career. When I was younger, I boxed when I was younger, all through my teenage years to adult life. And I can see the transformative power it has on young men and women. And I truly believe that no one in Australian history has given it the spotlight that it deserves. And I've seen a big gap there in the market. And obviously, I've given my background, I look at it and think, if I can give this the dedication and viewership that it needs, then we can really grow this to be a top-tier sport in Australia. And my goal is to grow it to a top-tier sport and really generate public interest from the greater Australian public and really change perceptions about it, because at the moment it has a bad perception. And my goal from doing what I'm doing now is to change that perception and really show the positive side of it and show it how it shapes young men and women in a positive light.
Okay. So in one of these rounds, we're going to talk on how you're going to try to revive this sport in Australia. But let's go back to the statistics that we have. So 47% walking, boxing doesn't exist. I look at AFL and, grand finals. They got, 4 million viewers?
Yeah.
Boxing doesn't show anywhere, man. Unless there's something international, you get a bit of spot in the news, in the media.
Yeah.
How are you going to overcome this?
What an opportunity.
Is it?
I look at that and think,
Fantastic.
because it's never been done before, what an opportunity. And you look at something like the UFC. When Dana White started the UFC was nothing. No one watched UFC. It got shunned from many of the states in America. But he was persistent, and he had a dream and a goal to make it what it was. And now that is probably one of the biggest sports in the world. And for me, if I can do that, I look at boxing here, and no one's done it well. And I think about that. I think, what an opportunity.
So that you mentioned UFC and MMA, they're growing, and they're growing exponentially.
Yeah.
And you have boxing.
Yeah.
So now you have an additional challenge that you're going to face, correct?
You can look at it that way. I think challenges are good.
Am I scaring you here? There must be like questions that you have thought about them before.
Of course, I have thought about it. I mean, I look at it as like challenge is competition. Competition is challenge, where it pushes you to go to the next level. And I truly believe, I'm 100% confident that if we do things the right way and the steps that we're taking now, like we're very early in the game now, but people have seen in the sport about what we're doing in the sport that are in the know.
So when you're saying early in the game, what do you mean? Boxing has been here for years.
I mean my promotion.
Your promotion.
Yeah, and my promotion. And they're seeing the way we're doing things. It's never been done before in Australia. and never been done before in the world. And I look at that and think, we're just starting out now. We've got a young team that is so creative in the way we're thinking that the stuff that we're doing is hitting the nail on the head. And the amount of ground we've covered in only four professional shows that we've done has been exponential. And so we're on broadcast on 7 Plus. We're getting 2,000 people to each event. And this is just growing and growing. And the hype around the promotion within the industry is real. But my goal now is to take that hype and bring it into the greater Australian public, so it captivates a lot of interest from not only the general public, but young men and women especially.
Okay, so 7 Plus is what for people who don't actually live in Australia?
It's Australian broadcasting.
Okay.
So
one of the channels that
one of the key channels
available in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So obviously you have this plan. You must have a lot of challenges around it. One is funding.
Yes.
Facilities, youth interest.
Yeah.
What is your plan around that? Especially with the funding, where are you gonna get the funding from?
So the funding, the first of all, I'll address the other things in terms of venues, and so my family business, we've got 8 venues across Sydney, and some of these venues are perfect for holding the boxing events, for holding the base boxing events at, and our plan is to grow the base there, and then grow to a stage where we're already looking at doing a big stadium show before the end of the year. So that's 5,000 people at that show. So that's the next step from what we're doing now. And what we're doing, because we're on delayed broadcast now on 7 Plus, so our goal is to do live broadcasts on one of the major channels when that time comes. And so we're right there now where we're just about to take that next leap up. So all the funding through sponsorships, through people getting on board, that's how it's coming. And so essentially when we get these broadcasting rights, you do a deal with a broadcaster and then they fund the fights for you. And then essentially, so that's your base covered. And then anything on top of that, that's funding to reinvest into the sport to go to another level.
For the viewers who don't actually know you, you are an ex-boxer.
Yes.
An Italian guy, one of 6 kids in a family.
Yeah, youngest of 6 boys.
The youngest of 6 boys. Who wants to do something special for Australia and for the sport that he loves dramatically. Now, before you revive the sport, you have to revive yourself.
Of course.
Correct?
Correct.
Let's go back to where it all not started, but where it all ended from a boxing professional for you.
Sure.
Why did you stop boxing? Why did you give up?
I didn't give up. So what happened? I throughout my whole career, I was at the edge of breaking through on the largest scale in Australia possible. And a few years ago, I had a fight scheduled in to fight for the number 1 spot in Australia in the welterweight division. I was on Foxtel show. It was a co-main event behind Nikita Tszyu. And preparation for that fight was going amazing. But I found myself very lethargic during the camp outside of training. When I went to training, I could always pull myself together and make it happen, because I was that determined. But then outside of training, I was absolutely exhausted. I was sleeping 13 hours a day. Didn't have energy to do much else. And I thought to myself, I said to my partner, I said...
How old were you then?
I was 35.
35.
35. And I said to my partner, I must be getting old because my body's not recovering like it was before. But I was still performing. In the sparring, I was sparring the likes of Nikita Tszyu, sparring Koen Mazudia, and Xander Zayas. So Xander Zayas is the number 1 in the world of the weight division above me. Koen Mazudia is the Australian champion of the weight division above me. And Nikita Tszyu is one of the best fighters in Australia, period. And these guys all had 10 kilos on me. So I was matching against all these guys. And I remember during the sparring thinking, this is going to be my time to really solidify my spot in Australia. And so I was confident going into that fight. And the whole fight camp was done. So we did 8 weeks of a 10-week camp. And we had 2 more weeks left. And I was sparring Nikita Tszyu. And I ended up sustaining a really bad shoulder and arm injury. I had a high-grade tear in my forearm and shoulder capsular thickening in my shoulder. And so then that ruled me out of the fight. I went and got 2 cortisone injections that week, thinking I still might be able to fight because I was still determined to fight. But I couldn't even lift my left arm. So I got ruled out of that fight. But then after that, that was heartbreaking. But I continued to get more and more lethargic and more sick. And I thought to myself, something's seriously wrong with me. So I went and started getting all tests done. And this was a period over 2 years. I had to stop work. I couldn't go out. I was exhausted. So I went and got brain scans, heart scans, thinking something was seriously wrong with me. And so I went and saw a guy that I was very close with, and he was like a confidant for me. He's a very smart guy. And he said to me, you should do some emotional healing work. And I thought, what
Emotional healing?
Yeah. And I was like, what? I didn't know what it was at the time. So I booked in to see this lady, and I walked in the room, and she goes, sit down and tell me your story. So I'm talking away to her, but the whole time she's just staring at my stomach. And like, it was quite uncomfortable. I'm like, man, this is a bit weird. And then after a period, she goes, stop, I've had enough. She goes, just get on the bench. And she started feeling around my stomach. And she goes, go get yourself checked. You have a very bad stomach parasite. And so I was like, well, what the hell? Like, so random. Like, and then, so sure enough, the next day I went and got tested, and it came up that I had a very bad stomach parasite. And so I was going to the toilet 10 times a day. Like, it was terrible. I've never experienced anything like it in my life. And I truly thought I was, like, at one stage I thought I was going to die because I got so sick from it.
Of course.
And then, so that was over 2 years. So I did 3 or 4 courses of antibiotics. Then I had to take a trio of antibiotics, which killed my whole stomach immune system, and I had to rebuild my stomach. So given that time, I was 38 when I got better. And so it was too late to keep fighting.
So the first question that comes through my mind now is, what did you feel like after quitting?
I was the worst. Like the amount of depression that I went through, because my whole identity was around boxing and being a great boxer. And I was at the peak of my fitness, like elite level training 2-3 times a day, ripped, fit as, and then being able to do absolutely nothing. Even going for a walk was exhausting. And so that whole mind shift about that was very, very challenging. And I found at that time that was probably the most depressed I've been in my whole life.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Are you still suffering from it?
No, like now because I've changed. I remember there was one time I was sitting on my veranda outside, and I was having a look, and I was thinking, hey, what can I do now? Like I couldn't train people, I couldn't train myself. I said, what can I do? So I thought, I want to start doing promoting. And at that time, I reached out to a lady named Isa. She was the head of PCYC boxing in Australia. I said, I want to do a grassroots boxing event. And so she goes, well, come have a coffee and we'll catch up. And so I know Isa. She used to watch me train for many years whenever I fought in America. She used to come and watch me do pad work and that. So I had a good relationship with her. And I said to her, I want you to mentor me and teach me how to do this promotion for the young guys coming through. And she goes, well, why don't we partner? And so I partnered with her, and we did the Adidas PCYC Championships, which was a great event. And I remember sitting in the front row of that event on the night. I was so nervous because I had to get up and do public speaking.
But hold on a second. You used to fight on the rings.
Yeah.
And everyone was watching you before. Now when you quit boxing or you stop boxing, going back and doing a public talk, is it a challenge for you? Like, you freaked out because of that? You didn't used to freak out when you were on the ring.
The craziest thing is when I used to get up and speak when I was fighting, because it was my domain, and I was so confident that I could just be myself, and I didn't need to rehearse anything because it all came from in here. Whereas now doing another thing about doing a business or doing it in a way that it's not coming from here, it's about people out here. That made me nervous because it was the unknown.
So you felt the pressure?
I felt the pressure, of course. But, like the thing that I've learned to love about what I'm doing is the pressure that's where the fun is. That's...
What do you used to say after every single match? Because I know, like, you guys have one slogan that you always use. Oh, thank you very much for all of these.
Yeah.
No? Like, what do you used to say?
No, I used to tell myself something internally, and it was...
So how you felt? How I
felt.
Oh.
And so at the time of every fight, because I fought a lot of good guys, and even inspiring all the best guys in Australia, and the terminology that I used before every spar was, I will prevail. And to me, that was a big thing, because I will prevail is something that I use all the time in my life, that no matter what comes at me, I will prevail. And that's trusting yourself.
So you're someone who quit, who did quit not because he failed. You were successful.
Yeah.
And then you quit. That must be really hard on you, mate.
Oh, mate,
really hard.
It was tough. It was very tough, yeah.
Did you let people down, do you think?
No, I didn't let it out. Like, in my mind, it was more about my own personal journey.
Did you let yourself down?
I felt like I let myself down. I did. You know, because a big thing for me, I didn't achieve what I set out to do on that mission. And it's because a big thing, which we spoke about previously, was it was for many years I didn't commit to it 100%. When I had a fight, I committed to doing the training, and no one would train harder than me. I've seen so many good fighters train in Australia, even Cambosis, different guys, and I truly feel like I was one of the hardest training guys that I'd come across.
But why are you blaming yourself if it was something beyond your control, something like
it's
physical?
It's human nature. You always, if things don't go your way, you're just self-blame, whatever it is. You know, it was at the time, because I had a goal. The goal was here. I got to here, and I didn't. There were so many times in my whole life, my boxing career, that I was just here and didn't get through to that breakthrough moment. And I knew I could do it. That was the thing that was the hardest for me. But you live and learn from every experience.
What did you learn from your lowest moment?
How resilient you can be. You know, like, and then the beautiful thing, what I've learned is that when you're at that bottom part, you take that strength that you from down there, and it's like you gain a sense of yourself where you just, I don't want to swear, but you don't give an F, and you just go for it.
I can cut it. You can swear. Right? You can do whatever you want.
You don't care, because you're like, okay, I've been down here, and then when the thing I love now is I've been down here. Now I'm climbing back up here, and I look back down and look how I was feeling, and think, mate, this is beautiful, this journey, because the worst thing that happened in my life has turned out to be one of the best. And it's been, you can change that in anything in your life. If you take the bad things that happen and you use it as building blocks, that's beautiful.
So what really makes you feel confident that you're going to rise again? Well, what is it?
I know.
Is it something inside of you that is something like talking to you at night, like in your head? Like, what is it?
It's a knowing. Like, it's a knowing within myself. And it's like, some people talk about self-belief. But it's not self-belief. It's knowing that if I take these steps, I'm going to get there. And I've full belief in that. And any time I've done that in my life has never failed me.
Fantastic. I love your attitude. No, I thought you're going to bring some gloves with you to this ring, man. Like, seriously.
We're going to go outside in the car park if you want.
Oh, no, I'm not going to get you anywhere. Can you pass me the gloves, please? I've got gloves for you.
Beautiful. I love it.
See?
Mate, they're small gloves.
I don't know. You have to manage.
Yeah.
So are you left-handed, right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. So maybe you should take this one.
That's all right. I use my left hand. I'm left-handed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course. What are we doing?
Let's put them on. Don't worry, we're not fighting.
Here we go. What do you reckon?
That's something that you're going to answer me.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Still train. So now, because I'm back and I'm back training, I'm not going to compete again. But I love it, because even now when I'm training and I feel those glimpses come back in my body of what I was at before, there's no feeling like it. None.
Man, I've met you for, I don't know, like we spent an hour.
Yeah.
And that was like 4 weeks ago. And every second day, while I'm walking inside the house with my kids around, they always ask me, who is your next guest? And I told them about you. But like without noticing, I just go like, it's all about boxing. what is the secret of boxing? Like, what does it give you? Does it give you power between your hands? Is this how you feel?
It gives you power in here. You know, it's such a, it is, I've never looked at boxing as you're fighting another man. It's you're conquering yourself. And it's the biggest form of self-mastery there is, because you have to face up to all your fears. You have to train hard. You have to commit and trust yourself. And then it builds self-belief within yourself.
Okay. Let me tell you something. You can take them out now.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stephanie. Look. Let me tell you the good news and the bad news.
Tell me.
And they combined.
Yep.
This isn't about you now, Ricky. It's about the sport.
Yep.
And you're carrying the sport on your shoulder. True? Is this how you feel? Or it is something that you've always wanted to do?
What do I feel?
Now, like carrying the sport on your shoulders and trying to revive the game.
I feel like we're in a game of football and it's my turn to take a hit up. And I feel like this is my turn to do my bit for the sport.
So you have a plan?
I do.
Tell us about your plan.
So my plan is to, what I'm doing now, we're building up the amateurs. So essentially what's happening in boxing promotion in Australia, a lot of the guys, they just focus on the top end couple of fighters, say like Tim Tszyu. And they focus on him and that's it, everything else gets forgotten. What they don't focus on is building the whole level of the sport in Australia and generating for the next generation for them to come in. So my goal and my plan, what I'm doing now and starting to build it out, is we started with the amateurs at the grassroots level, at the bottom. So we're building the foundation from the bottom. And so we're investing in these guys from when they're young, and we're giving them the experience and the exposure that they need in order to take that next step up. And so my goal is it's not a 1 year or 2 year plan. This is a 5-year plan where we build and generate interest for these guys to come through. And then that's because we're doing all the marketing and that for them. Essentially what's going to happen, other people are going to see them and they'll be like, oh, I want to try that. I want to see what that is. Why is this guy so good? And then they get their kids into it. And so essentially, we build the whole level from the base up. And so now a big thing what we're doing as well, because we're doing professionals as well, we've got the hottest young upcoming pros in our promotion as well. And so we're bringing these guys through from not just 1-2 fights, but all the way up to championship belts. So my goal, and it's happening now, we had a young Aboriginal kid that fought on my card. He was fought on my first amateur card. Just on the last card, he made his professional debut.
Fantastic.
And he's at 19 years old. And so on social media, on TikTok and that, he's getting 150,000 views per video.
Maybe you can share this podcast episode.
Yeah, definitely. But the interest is definitely there. And so these guys, if they learn about these guys when they're early on in the journey, and we're documenting everything. So we're building stories behind these fighters, and they're not just boxers. They're people. They're people that have a story, and their story is going to be an inspiration for their people and community around them. And so we're spreading that message, and we're doing that bit by bit. And then once we get the TV exposure through live television, then that's going to blow us up and really get to the greater Australian public, which is our goal.
Okay, there's two elements that you're facing now. Is one, the youth.
Yep.
Bring them back to the sport.
Yep.
You're doing great. What about the crowd? Because sport on its own, it's not going to make you survive. You need the crowd to watch it.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan for the crowd?
Well, the events that we've been doing, they've been sold out each time. And so essentially what we do, because we do the marketing for the fighters, then the fighters share that on their platforms, which they go out and that goes to their networks. So they bring the crowd with them because the crowd are there to watch the fighters. It's not about us. It's about the fighters and the fighters getting their people involved. So we're creating the avenue or the link for them to do that with their people.
So tell me something. Boxing is a teamwork or a solo sport? How do you look at it?
It's in the end, it's 100% on you.
100% on you.
But you need a good team around you.
So this is what you're doing now? You're just taking the sport on your shoulders, and is it a solo fight that you're doing now to bring it back?
I've got it's me driving it, but I've got an amazing team around me, and I couldn't do it without them, because they make up for the areas which I lack, and I'm being able to drive it forward in my own way, which is amazing.
And these teams are like a team of experts. They've revived something before.
We're a young, hungry team.
Oh my God!
And we've got an older lady. We call her. She's not old.
The wisdom.
We call her the mother of boxing. and she's a gem. She's the eyes. She was the head of PCYC boxing in Australia, and she's now a part of our team. And so she's been amazing. She's promoted over 200 events, so she can do the groundwork and really help on that end. And then we've got the other guys in our team, young, hungry. My little sidekick, Monique. So I actually cornered her in her first amateur fight. She sent me the video this morning. She goes, "Look what I found. I can't believe I can't remember. Like, it's crazy." And so we look back on those memories and go, "Wow, like, look at where we were then, and look at us on our journey now." So our team is young and hungry, and it's like, but we've all got skin in the game, which is amazing.
So now you're on the spotlight, and you know that, yeah? And you've got all the cameras on you.
Yeah.
And I'm recording this.
Beautiful.
10 years down the track, where do you see this sport in Australia?
I see it as a top-tier sport in Australia. I see it as not only the sport itself, but what it does and the benefits for the general public. Say, for example, a big thing what I want to incorporate once we get this to a high level is create non-combative boxing for the greater Australian public. And what that is, it brings in the skills, the training, the disciplines that you learn from your training, and does it without combat. And so that can be accessible to any person in the general public, whether it's corporates, people in IT, whoever it is. So that's what we want to bring and show, because, mate, there is no harder sport in the world than boxing. If you look at the hardest sports on the chart, boxing is number one, and the training is so intense, but when you finish, you feel absolutely amazing. So I want to shine that light and bring that to the Australian public also.
Good.
Mention all the questions?
No. Look, what do you prefer to call yourself, Ricardo Colosimo or Ricky?
Ricky's good.
Ricky.
Yeah.
Ricky, what makes you believe in yourself that you are capable of doing this? What is it?
What is it that I'm...
100%.
It's a knowing. It's as I said before, it's a knowing that if I do the work, and I do the work, you can't be stopped. If you're determined enough and you're willing to do the work, I've learned this through my fighting when I was fighting, and the guys that were all better than me at the start, I was like, I'm just going to outwork them, and I'm going to be so determined that I'm going to overtake them, and that's what happened. And so it was not even a belief in myself; it was a belief in the steps that I took to make that. So if I took the right steps and did the work, then I would get there.
Not that we've done 3 rounds already. So now we are through the toughest one.
Yeah.
And obviously you are a parent.
Yes.
Congratulations. You just had a boy.
Yeah, little boy.
Little boy.
Archie.
God bless him.
Thank you.
For you just to revive this game and bring the youth in, you have to convince their parents.
Of course.
First question that everyone has asked me, is boxing safe for my child?
Yeah.
What is your answer on that?
My answer to that is boxing. So boxing training is 100% safe. So you look at kids these days and you look at the way a lot of kids live and how distracted they are on their phones, or they're going out getting in trouble, going out doing drugs, doing silly stuff like that. You look at that and I look at guys that have started on that path, and then they come into the boxing gym and how much it straightens it out. It is very safe. It's probably the safest place to be because it creates community for them, They train around other people that are all pushing towards a goal or dream or whatever it is, and they get that camaraderie. And so that, in my mind, is almost lost this day and age in a lot of people's lives. And when kids come and they experience that, it's gold. So people say, is it safe? Of course, if you get in a fight or you're boxing, people are going to get some sort of injuries. That's part of the game. It's the same as football, same as anything. You're running 100 miles with someone banging your body. You're going to get hurt. That's the nature of sport. You're competing against other people. That's the way it is. But if people just want to do the boxing training, then 100%, there's no issue at all.
So what age should they start? Those kids, what do you recommend?
I would, like my recommendation, if I could go back and do it all again for myself, I would have started when I was 12, 13 and just start
12, 13?
Yeah, just doing pad work and moving, because you learn the movement. Your body learns how to move, coordination, discipline, everything that you learn.
So not 5 and 6 and...
No, you don't need to start that young. You know, like there's different things. I've trained my nephews, so I've got 16 nephews and nieces. And I've trained them.
They're all.
I've trained them for many years. And when they first started, when they were young, I couldn't even keep them entertained for more than 15, 20 minutes, you know. They have a very short attention span. Whereas as they get a bit older, they get a little bit more tuned in and they can...
Mate, I've met you, like, as I said before, for 1 hour. Yeah. And I was punching the air, like, for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If I send my kid to train in boxing...
Yeah.
Do you think that will make him aggressive?
No, not at all. I think the opposite. You know, because I can talk from my own personal experience. I remember when I was younger, you had, as all young men do, they have aggression or they want to, testosterone is coming into their system. They got to get it out somehow. And when I remember when I started boxing training, it made me so much more humble, because literally I would exert all my energy when I was training. And then after that, you come back and you become a lot more disciplined. And I found even times when I did go in and spar and other guys got the better of me, that was humbling. So it kept me in a position that I thought I started to learn what I was capable of. And it's like, no, you don't want to go out and cause trouble. You don't want to go out and start a fight, because you know what's involved with that. And so I truly feel like it teaches the opposite of being aggressive, and teaches humility.
Mm. Mm. So look, when you register your kids to any sport, first thing that parents will ask you, how much is it going to cost me for gear for my kids?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea? Like, do you have, like, what do they need as a minimum to start with?
As a minimum, just a pair of hand wraps and a pair of boxing gloves. You can get a pair of boxing gloves for $30, $40 and the hand wraps for $15. So that's all you need. Yeah, and your obviously sand shoes to do some running and drills, but yeah, not much at all. You can literally, if you really want to start, you don't need any gear. You can just start, and you just start with the shadow boxing drills. My nephews and that, when they started with me, they had no gear.
Okay. So you're Italian, you didn't play football?
I played soccer when I was young.
That's what I call football, soccer.
I'm Aussie, mate.
Who calls soccer? He said.
Aussie. Yeah, I played that for 7 years. So I played indoor soccer, outdoor soccer. I loved it.
Okay.
It was good.
And then you jumped to boxing.
You know what? The thing I didn't like about is relying on team members that weren't as invested as you. So that was a big thing for me.
So you should carry the team.
Well, no, I didn't carry the team, but I liked that responsibility within yourself, that you're the master of your own fate. So whether you win or lose, that's 100% on you.
So in soccer, when you start playing soccer or football, like as everyone knows around the world, you have a plan.
Yeah.
Like your kids would just go through NPL, SAP, they play nationally, internationally. Do you have the same strategy for boxing?
It's never been done before, but that's what
never been done.
No, that's what I want to do. So that's.
But do you know that this is what the parents will first ask you, like, oh, where's the future of this game for my kid?
So I'm building it right now. I'm building that plan now. So they're literally all the pathways from the grassroots all the way up to the top. I'm going to build that pathway. And I remember, because I used to fight when I was young, when I was from 17, came all through the grassroots boxing. I was training at the Institute of Sport, and essentially I was so lost, because when I say lost, I didn't have anyone guiding me on that path. If I had someone guiding me, like someone in my position doing this for the next guys coming through, then that would have created such a clearer pathway, and I know it would have kept me a lot more invested in the game also.
You know, like I have to admit, first thing that crosses my mind straight away, if I find one of my kids is weak on the personality level, I just advise them to go and join boxing straight away.
There you go.
I don't actually think of any other game.
There you go.
What is the secret of this game that no one really knows? Because you've been through it.
Yeah.
What difference did it make in yourself? Like,
mate, the amount of self-belief and confidence that you instill within yourself in a humble way, it can't be compared to anything else. Like there's nothing like, as a man deep within, you need to be tested in different ways. It's even for you doing this podcast or your different challenges in your work. You're testing yourself. And with the boxing, there's no bigger test because it tests your mental side, your physical side, and then your spiritual side. Because you're going to come against forces that are stronger than you, bigger than you, all these things that are outside of you, which is bigger. And you have to back your own spirit and believe in yourself and tap into your spirit to actually overcome that. And that's what boxing does. There's something very special about it.
It's amazing because, again, when I've met you, you mentioned something which really stuck in my head. It doesn't matter how much you train. When you're on the ring, it's you against yourself.
That's right.
Against your fight.
Yeah.
Is it really true? This is like where it proves you if you're right or wrong, if what I've done has really made the track or not. Is it true?
Yeah, 100% true.
Oh my God.
You can't cheat yourself. And there's no feeling like it at all when you're in the change room before a fight. And you know the countdown's coming, and they're saying you're going to be on in 10 minutes. And you got those nerves, that energy, and it's just you in your own mind. And you got to, in that time whether you deserve to win or you don't. And it's like, okay, did I win all those things? Did I get up and run in the morning? Did I have those little victories along the way where I beat my own limitations? Did I push myself? Did I do the dieting? Did I do all that stuff? And when you line up enough of those little victories, when you get into the ring, that's the ultimate confidence because you've done everything in your power to win. And then when you do that, it's like when you stand in the ring and you face the other guy and you got another opponent across the ring, I don't look at them as the opponent. It's me. They're just someone, an object to make me reach a higher level of myself. And for me, it was the most best thing about it. I loved it.
Can you tell straight away that you're going to win before you start your match or not really? Like how many, you look at your opponent and say, I can smash him or...
Some people think like that. For me personally, it was always, I always knew that if I did the work beforehand, I was going to win. That was just my belief or my philosophy that if I went to my max capacity during training, it wouldn't matter who was in front of me, I was still going to win. That was my mindset. But a lot of people, they look at it and they be like, they size them up and say, oh, I'll be able to smash this guy easy. But it's not what it is. Looks can be deceiving. And you never know. You never underestimate anyone because in the ring, all it takes is one punch. And if you don't see it coming or you're lazy, then you can get knocked out.
Look, it's amazing. This conversation that we had might have been really liable 5 years ago or whatever, but now with AI, technology, artificial intelligence, can you imagine yourself fighting against a robot, for example?
For sure.
Or having those, I don't know, e-bags that you fight constantly with?
Yeah. I definitely can.
Is this where the sport is going through?
Well, they actually, I was watching something recently. It was AI technology in the sport, and the AI was predicting what the fighter should throw, which punch they should throw prior to them actually throwing it. So, for example, the guy was sized up, and they said you should throw a left hook, and then he throws a left hook, and it was funny like that because you can see definitely where the advancements are going. It's definitely going in that direction for sure.
Ricky, we can also talk about AI in details, and there's so many things you can use, for training, helping your sportsmen to train. They'll give you information, statistics. And going back to you as a person, do you feel that you've wasted your talent, or life really had a different plan for you?
I feel like everyone has their paths they should or can walk in their life, and a lot of people don't walk them. And for me, I feel like I had a path that I could have walked, and I didn't walk it. And the beautiful thing about it is now that I've been given a second chance to right some wrongs of my past, and really just go for it. And so through the promotions now, I feel like that's life offering me a second opportunity to get there. And there's many ways to the mountaintop, and my way has been a windy one and different. But I feel like doing the promotion now, the end goal is still going to be the same, and that's to be an inspiration for the next generation and really build out. I thought I was going to do that through my fighting, but now it's turning out that I'm doing it through the promoting.
So next generation, young fighters are really important. They are the future, really.
Yeah.
What is it, the one lesson that you can give them, that you've learned and you'd love to pass it on to them?
There's two.
Two. You're so generous.
The first one is back yourself. And in this sport and anything you do in life, you got to back yourself. And there's so many different challenges or people or obstacles that come against you. And if you back yourself well and truly all the way, then you can do great things. And the second one is don't quit. You know, too many people in life, especially this day and age, how everything's instant. And people, if they don't get their way straight away, they quit. And I see a lot of the young guys coming through, and they see fighters on Instagram, some of the best fighters in the world, and they'd be like, I want to be like that. What they see is that guy on Instagram at that top level. They don't see is the work and the lead up to get there. And what happens, a lot of these guys, once they start doing their work, I've got so many guys that have come to me over the past and said, I want to train, I want to fight, it's what I want to do. So don't talk too far ahead, just come and do some training, and then let's have a proper conversation, or come and do some sparring and let's chat properly after that. They have one or two hard sessions, or they have one or two hard sparring sessions where the other guy gets the better of them and they quit. You don't see him again. And for me, that's such a big thing, because it's the guy that keeps showing up and doesn't quit that is normally the one that ends up winning in the long run. And I know that even from my own experience, when I first started fighting, was a big thing for me. It was an amazing learning curve, which I've taken all through my career and all through life. It's the first sparring session that I ever had. And I was training with the guy, my old coach, and he said to me, you're really good. You should come up and do some sparring with another guy in the gym. So I got so excited, and I went home and I told my brothers, and I said, I'm going to go spar. And they said, okay, cool, we'll come and watch. So two of my brothers came and watched, and we went up to the gym, and I got in the ring, and I sparred a guy who would have come up to my shoulders. He was tiny. And I thought, I'm going to smash this guy. That's what I thought in my head. And this guy came out and he absolutely smashed me. He hit like a truck.
Oh.
And I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't quit. I kept going forward on him and I didn't quit. And after I got out of the ring, and we drove home, and my brothers were laughing at me. They said, we thought you were supposed to be good. That was terrible. And so I went home, but I cried. Like, I went home and cried, and I was so upset. And I thought to myself, that was embarrassing. And I thought, I'm not going to let that guy beat me. I'm going to come back and beat him at one stage. And so I kept showing up to training all the time. And me and this other guy would train alongside each other. And the coach would always give him more attention and be like, you're going to be the next big thing. You're going to make the Olympics. All this, that's what he used to say to him. But I used to train next to him, and I used to make sure that when he stopped, I would keep going and that he would see me keep going. So I would train another 2 or 3 rounds at a much higher intensity and make sure that he saw that.
Fantastic.
And then so this went on for about 6 months. And he used to get the better of me all the time when we sparred for about the first 6 months. And then because the amount of work I put in, then after some time we started going even, about 6 months in. And we started going even, and I started getting excited, thinking, okay, now this is where the fun happens, because it's an even playing field now. And I kept working, training harder. And we were in a little tin shed in this little hot back gym. It was a crappy gym, right? But these were some of the fondest memories of my boxing career, because after about 1 year of going, we would spar every week. And this guy ended up he refused to spar me anymore because I just ended up schooling him and just my skill level because of the amount of work I put in. And it's all because I didn't quit. So I always tell guys when they're going for their first fight or their first sparring session, you're going to get hit, you're going to get hurt, the other guys are going to get the better of you. It's the nature of the game. It's all up to you.
It's the nature of life.
100% it is. And whether you can build on those defeats to eventually win the war, that's what makes a champion. You know, I look at things like what makes a champion in my mind is someone that just keeps coming back after setback, losses. You look at what all the top guys like. I know George Kambosos. I've seen a lot of Tim Tszyu, and they've had all their defeats along the way, but they've got to the mountain peak because they didn't quit, which is a key thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's a lot of people who played a major role in your life, and specifically your family, your mom and dad, your brothers. What would you tell them?
What would I tell them? Thank you. I would say thank you because they played a major role in shaping me and shaping my resilience and my ability to just endure and not quit. Like I'm the youngest of 6 boys, and when we were growing up, they just used to bash the crap out of me. And they used to have fun there. When my parents used to go out, they used to plan on how they were going to torture me and my my next brother up. And so having to deal with that, I never quit then. You know, I remember there was one time my brother was, and I would just look at him and I would just make sure I was looking in his eyes and he was saying, quit or tap out. And I was ready to go to sleep because I wasn't going to tap out. You know, and I look at that resilience and what that instilled in me from a young age. And I've taken that all through my life, which has been amazing.
Ricky, was a pleasure. All the best with your venture. All the best with whatever you're trying to do. Reviving a sport that I personally love. My kids love. Everyone, a lot of people would love around the world. Whatever you're doing, deserve all respect. And trust me, I've got a feeling that you're going to succeed. So all the best.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. Very good. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
It's good, man. I loved it.
Makes you
Like my experience on the Brain Splat podcast was amazing. Like I feel like the way you interact with me and the way you steer the conversation, what I was just saying is amazing. You can tell you've done a lot of preparation in the lead up, and I love that you talk about a subject and then you lead into a question for me to sort of carry that as well, and you make it very easy to talk. And prior to the podcast, I was a little bit not apprehensive, but a little bit worried about what some of the questions would be. But you made it very relaxing. So for me, it was excellent.
Thanks, buddy.